Muse is an English rock band from Tynemouth, Devon, formed in 1994. Matthew Bellamy, lead vocals, lead guitar, piano, keyboards, and guitar. Christopher Wolstenholme, bass, vocals, keyboards, misa guitarra, and harmonica. And Dominic Coward, drums, percussion, and synthesizers make up the three-piece band. They have a total of 6 studio albums. Showbiz, released in 1999. Origin of Symmetry, released in 2001. Absolution, released in 2003. Black Holes and Revelations, released in 2006, The Resistance, 2009, and The Second Law, released in 2012. People consider Muse an alternative rock band that are also associated with space rock and progressive rock. Their music currently mixes sounds from genres such as electronic music, hard rock, experimental rock, classical rock, and rock opera. The band was described as a trashy three-piece by Matthew Bellamy, the lead singer, on BBC in 2002. On the band's association with progressive rock, Dominic Howard once said, "I associate progressive rock with 10-minute guitar solos, but I guess we kind of came into that category. A lot of bands are quiet, ambitious with their music, mixing lots of different styles, and when I see that, it's great. I've noticed that kind of thing becoming a bit more mainstream." Here's a little background on Muse. The members of Muse played at separate school bands during their stay at Tynemouth Community College in the early 1990s. But the formation of Muse began when Bellamy successfully auditioned for the part of guitarist in Dominic Howard's band, Carnage Mayhem. They asked Chris Wolfenstone, who played the drums at the time, to learn how to play bass guitar for the band. Wolfenstone agreed to take up lessons, while Bellamy had to become a singer and songwriter for the band. The original band members left after Bellamy suggested that they start writing their own songs rather than doing covers. The very first band name was Gothic Plague. They later changed the name to Fixed Penalty, and then finally to Rocket Baby Dolls. In 1994, the band used the name Rocket Baby Dolls with a goth glam image to compete in the local Battle of the Bands. The band won the contest, smashing their equipment in the process. "It was supposed to be a protest, a statement," Bellamy said. "So when we actually won, it was a shock. A massive shock. And after that, we started taking ourselves a bit more seriously." Shortly after the contest, the three decided to forget university, quit their jobs, change the band name to Muse, and move away from Tynemouth. The name Muse was supposedly inspired by Matthew Bellamy's art teacher Samuel Tiwan. And that's it. Really. There's no backstory to why they chose to base it off Matt's art teacher. Just kind of happened, I guess. Then they met a guy named Dennis Smith. This meeting led to the first proper recording and the release of the Muse EP on May 11th, 1998. Their second EP, the Muscle Museum EP, released on the 11th of January 1999, reached number 3 in the indie singles charts and attracted attention of British radio broadcasters. Dennis Smith introduced the band to Safta Jaffrey, with whom he had recently started a record label called Taste Media. Later in 1999, Muse performed the Emerging Artist stage at Woodstock. Muse signed with Smith and Jaffrey and recorded the first 3 albums, Showbiz, Origin of Symmetry, and Absolution. The very first single the band ever had was Muscle Museum off the first album, Showbiz. It goes a little like this. For their second album, the band wanted to enhance themselves into a more progressive, confident, and aggressive sound. During production of the band's second album, the band experimented with instrumentation such as church organs and mellotron. Mellotron. Yep, Mellotron. Alright. Animal Bones. Great. And an expanded drum kit. There were a lot more of Bellamy's high-pitched vocal lines. Like a lot. And a lot of them kind of went like this. In 2002, Muse threatened Celine Dion with legal action when she planned to name her Las Vegas show Muse. Despite the band owning a worldwide performing rights to the name, Dion offered Muse $50,000 for the rights. Overall, origin and symmetry, it's a pretty great record. Usually got 9 out of 10s, some 3 out of 10s, but some people just suck. And right after they were done promoting their album, and once it was released, Muse immediately signed to Warner Brothers. But before we get to that, let's talk about some of the singles off Origin and Symmetry. There's about 5 singles in total. There's Bliss, Newborn, Feeling Good, Plug-in Baby, and Space Dementia. Here's Newborn. Their new album, Absolution, was released in September 2003 and debuted at number 1 in the UK. The album yielded their first top 10 hit with Time Is Running Out, and later top 3 20 hits, Hysteria, Butterflies and Hurricanes, and Sing for Absolution. Here's Time Is Running Out, Hysteria, and Butterflies and Hurricanes. After all the success that Absolution had, Muse subsequently undertook an international tour in support of the album. It continued for about a year and a half. Muse visited Australia, New Zealand, the United States, Canada, and France. And in June of 2004, they played the Gatsbury Festival. After the festival, the band described the concert as the best gig of their lives. Drummer Dominic Howard's father, William Howard, who attended the festival to watch the band, died from a heart attack shortly after the performance. Matthew Bellamy says, "It was the biggest feeling of achievement we have ever felt as a band. It was almost surreal that an hour later his dad died." And now we have another lawsuit. Muse sued Nestea for using their cover Feeling Good for a Nescafe advertisement without even the band's permission. The group donated the money they won from it to Oxfam, which is it's like a charity for, I don't know, like, what's the word for it? I can't think of the word right now. Orphans, that's what it is. Yeah, that. And now it's time for the album, Black Holes and Revelation. In 2006, Muse released their fourth album, Black Holes and Revelations, co-produced by Muse and Rich Costey. The album's title and themes are a result of the band's fascination with the science fiction and political outrage. The album charted at number 1 in the UK, much of Europe, and Australia. It was also a success in the United States, reaching number 9 on Billboard 200. The first single from the album, Supermassive Black Hole, was released for download on May 2006. The second single, Starlight, was released in September of 2006, along with Night to Sidonia, which was featured on Guitar Hero 3, so you Guitar Hero fans will probably know this song. Another single, Map of the Problematic, was released for digital download on June of 2007. Map of the Problematic is probably my favorite song of Black Holes and Revelations. I don't know why. I just really like it, I guess. Here it is, I guess. All in all, this is a really great record. It never really got a bad review, to be honest. A lot of the songs are, to be honest, really poppy, and that's probably why I got such critical acclaim. But I like the album. It's probably my second favorite Muse album, besides Absolution. So now we're going to move on to their fifth studio album, The Resistance. The band's fifth studio album, The Resistance, was released in September of 2009. It was the first Muse album to have the band produce it. This album was engineered by a guy named Adrian Bushby and mixed by Mark Stent. On its release, it topped the album in 19 countries, and became the band's third number 1 album in the UK. Now, critics were mostly positive about the album, with much praise directed towards its ambition, classical music influences, and a 13-minute, 3-part symphony that Matthew Bellamy wrote himself. It also beat its predecessor, Black Holes and Revelations, in relative album sales in its debut week in the UK with approximately 100,048 copies. The first single, Uprising, was released 7 days earlier, on September 13th. Now, the song is really known for its iconic music video. It features the band walking around the streets of an abandoned city that's run by giant, horrifying teddy bears. It's amazing. Creative. It's actually a really good music video. If you haven't seen it yet, you should watch it. But here's a little bit of the song for you. But yeah, overall, I think the album's great. It's my third favorite album. The symphony that Matthew Bellamy composed it's really, really good for being a self-taught musician. He's a very talented person, along with everybody else in the band. But I think it's time to move on to their 6th studio album, or 7th. I'm not sure which one we're on right now. Anyways, we're talking about The Second Law. Muse's first single from the album was Survival. It was the official song of the London 2012 Summer Olympic Games. They also played this song at this closing ceremony of the Olympics.
Life's a race, I'm gonna win. Yes, I'm gonna win. I'll light the fuse, and I'll never lose, and I choose to survive, whatever it takes. You won't pull ahead, I'll keep up the pace, and I'll reveal my strength to the whole human race. Yes, I am prepared.
So yeah, that was a little bit of Survival. It's a pretty good song. I like the chorus in the background. I think that was pretty innovative. But yeah, overall, I think the album did really good. But I guess we can give you a little bit more on the album. Had multiple singles on the album. Like I said, Madness, Survival, obviously one of them. Supremacy, which was originally going to be the Skyfall theme song until Adele recorded the song Skyfall. And yeah, that kind of took its course and, was used for Skyfall. There are actually 2 songs on this record where the bassist sings, Chris, and they're really, really good. One of them is one of my favorite on the record. It's called Liquid State. It's really awesome when they do it live. And the other one's called Save Me, which is also great. Well, Chris usually does backups, but he really stepped up his game on the record, I think. Just all the bass lines are amazing. And they have this one song, Panic Station, the grooviest song ever. Okay, maybe not ever, but because Chili Peppers do some pretty groovy stuff. But Panic Station, they filmed that thing in Detroit, like the music video. I mean, not Detroit. Why the hell did I say Detroit? Not Detroit. Tokyo. I don't know how I got those two mixed up. But yeah, and it was messed up. It was hilarious. They were driving giant robots, and there's tits on the robots, and they just move up and down when you drive them. And it's funny. It's amazing, and if you haven't seen it, you should probably see it. But overall, this album's very great. Obviously, it got some really crappy reviews because it was different from what Muse usually does, because they incorporate a lot of electronic stuff into this album. Like, they did some dubstep, which I wasn't very fond of. I didn't really like those songs, but the cool thing of what Muse did about the dubstep is they found a guitar that you could hook up to your computer. Well, not really a guitar adapter that you could hook up to your computer, and you can get a bunch of different effects on this one website. So they got a dubstep effect. And so the dubstep is all done with their instruments. It's not done with computers, because that takes no talent at all. And yeah, it's really good. It's pretty cool. And yeah, overall, I think Muse is probably one of my favorite bands of all time. And I'm looking forward to their new album in 2015. I don't know what it's going to be called, but I guess they're going back to their origins, I guess you could say. Well, thank you for listening. There will be many more of these to come, hopefully a better quality. So I'm sorry if this one is really crappy, and I haven't swore at all in this one, but that's because I'm doing it for a school, like, music class thing. So I will be swearing in my next one, whenever I do that. I don't know what it's going to be on. Maybe Avenged Sevenfold, maybe Bullet for My Valentine. I'm not quite sure yet, but we will see. But once again, thank you for listening, and this is my podcast. Stay tuned for more updates and more info on what I'll be doing next.